Hey there, we're so glad you're back on week 3 of our weekly awareness on choices. Stay tuned as we learn more about setting goals and respecting yourself.
All right, so welcome back to week 3 of our series in choices, making good choices. So this one's going to be a little harder conversation. Look at these pictures. First picture here. This young lady started making bad choices, right? And look at where she ended up. I can assure you that when she started, if you'd have said, if you keep going down this path, you're going to end up like one of these guys, she would never have believed it. But because she made that first bad choice, it was easier to make the next bad one. And with those bad choices come bad consequences. And as we continue down those paths, the consequences get worse and worse and worse. They build. And you can see it. I can assure you here in the middle, she hated where she was at. She didn't want to be doing what she was doing. But she had dug such a deep hole that it was so hard for her to get out of. Maybe she didn't have the resources to help her get out of it. She didn't have the ability to make that commitment to stop. Maybe she didn't know where to go. Maybe she didn't know what you know. She didn't know how to say no. She didn't know that she has value. She didn't know that she was important, that she was loved. So she became numb to all of these things. And these are the lies that we tell ourselves when we go down these paths. We tell ourselves that we're in control, that we know what we're doing, that we'll never end up like that person. It's the same lie that every single person who's gone down this path says to themselves. So I want you to hear this. I want you to respect yourself. You saw in Robert Downey Jr. last week that no matter how bad of a decision we make, we can come out of it if we'll commit to being better, if we'll commit to getting help. We saw in Kobe Bryant in the first week that if we just dedicate our lives to being the best at whatever it is we set our goals at, we can achieve those goals. These are goals that she had at one time, I'm sure, but they got shattered because she couldn't stay focused. And she didn't know where to go to get help. And she fell for these lies. I hope you don't. And I'll see you back here in a few minutes, and we'll talk about another evolution in this choices and committing to being the best person you can be. Okay, so now we're going to start talking about planning for the worst. Yeah? The worst is when someone asks us to do something we know we shouldn't do. When someone asks us to take something that we know is not good for us, it could harm us or harm someone else, I want you to plan for that now. I want you to have a plan before you need one. And what I mean by that is, how are you going to say no? There's a lot of different ways you can say no. And I want you to think about those different ways now. I want you to have a plan before you need one. Does that make sense? It could be as simple as, man, my dad would kill me if I did that. Or maybe I just don't need that, man. Whatever it is. However you want to handle it, you need to know how you're going to do it now. And I want you to separate from those people, because those people trying to get you to do that aren't your true friends. Peer pressure oftentimes is the thing that gets us to make a bad decision. Sometimes the peer pressure makes us say yes when we know we should be saying no way. Kelly Slater's a world champion surfer. And I got to tell you that in his surfing career, I can assure you he was overwhelmed with opportunities to get distracted from his goal of being the best surfer he could be. But he's a great example of saying, you know what? I don't need it. And is Kelly Slater cool? Well, in the surfing community, he's the coolest. And he was the coolest, and he was the guy saying, I don't need it. I'm not going to go down that path. So I want you to know this. No matter what anybody is telling you, you're cool and you know it. And you stay focused and directed and don't get distracted on these bad choices. Does that make sense? Love yourself. Look out for each other. All right, guys, look at this guy. Anybody recognize this guy? This is Michael Phelps, the most medals won in the Olympics ever. He's got like 28 gold medals, 39 world records. What an amazing athlete. What an amazing role model. Where did Michael Phelps start? Maybe he started right here. Look at these guys. Maybe this is just a local swimming pool in your community, and you're just a little guy out there swimming. And maybe while you're out there, you go, you know what? I want to be an Olympic swimmer. How do you get there? You focus. You set your goal, just like we heard with Kobe a couple weeks ago. He determined he wanted to be the best ball player. Michael Phelps determined he wanted to be the best swimmer. You can start from humble beginnings and end up in a place like this. This is the Olympics on the world stage. I want you to know this. Set your dreams high. Focus on those things. Don't get distracted. Don't let people pull you off down places that you know you shouldn't be. And I want you to know this too with Michael Phelps. He's a great role model, but he had his hiccups down the road. At one point in his life, he became aware that he had some problems inside, some feelings that he felt that he didn't know how to cope with, and he went to a really dark place. And he started having substance issues with alcohol and marijuana and different bad choices. And it was close that we could have lost Michael Phelps, the best Olympic athlete we have ever known. And what happened? He dug deep. He dug real deep. And he came up with an idea. He said, you know, and I want you to remember this. He said, it's okay to not be okay. And he followed that up with, it's okay to ask for help. Two great quotes from Michael Phelps. No matter what you're going through, no matter what's happening, it's okay as long as you reach out for that help and you accept it. Does that make sense, guys? And you can go from a swimming pool in the local community to maybe the Olympic stage if you stay focused and don't get distracted. And if you're going through some hard stuff, ask for that help, guys. What an amazing role model we have with Michael Phelps.
Thank you for watching our third weekly awareness on choices. Be sure to watch next week as we conclude the series. And remember, it is okay not to be okay.